Hello everyone, Dave here from SaveNext. Now as we all know, the Switch has received many games, a lot of ports and remakes, especially from the Wii U. But that's not to say the Wii hasn't had some ports on the Switch as well. Some of them at a budget price like Okami, and some at a not so budget price like Resident Evil 4. And that Banana Blitz HD port, that was a weird one. But this year, the main one is we're getting Xenoblade Chronicles, a definitive edition, which I'm very much looking forward to. So why not just bring a lot more Wii games with it? I did a similar video a few months ago looking at what Wii U games could still come to the Switch, and I looked at how value could be added. I won't go into too much detail with that this time, but I think it should go without saying that every game I talk about will need an HD graphical makeover, and they'd need to remove the necessity of motion controls. If games like Go Vacation can get a port to the Switch, then I don't see any reason why a lot of these ones can't either. In these videos, I'm going to go 5 at a time just so they're not overly long, so if you have any ideas of what Wii games you'd like to see come to Switch, let me know in the comments down there, and make sure you hit that subscribe button while you're down there to see in for future videos to see if I include any that you mention. So without further ado, here are 5 Wii games I think should come to the Switch. So my number one choice for a Wii game that should come to the Switch is one I think a lot of people are saying, and that is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Obvious pick is obvious, but I don't think any Wii game is more deserving and more in need of a remake than The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Everyone knows this game, and everyone has an opinion on it, whether it be good or bad. I personally love this game, but I do agree with the game's critics. I never personally had a problem with the motion controls, but it would be nice to be able to play this without them, and I know there are plenty of puzzles and combat scenarios that require them, but that's where the remake part comes into it. Actually remake the game in more than just its presentation. Give us different puzzles in certain areas, rework the combat and how some of the bosses work, all the while keep the game's world, story and characters all the same. Lessen the fetch quests, stop Fi from constantly interrupting the gameplay to point out the obvious to you, let us map several items to different buttons at the same time again, and most importantly, stop the game from forgetting I already got a certain item every time I turn it off, so I don't have to watch it slowly get added to my inventory each and every time. There is a fantastic Zelda game hiding in here somewhere. Let's just bring it to the Switch and let its potential get realised. I can see this sitting proudly on the shelf next to the HD collection of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, which had better be coming to the Switch as well. So my second pick for this list is Mario Strikers Charged. I can't believe this series has been abandoned after just 2 games. The first was fun, but this sequel was amazing. This is just fast, frantic football action with Mario Kart style items you can use. And if you have no items, then just barge them out of the way, no problem. But if you tackle someone who hasn't got the ball, then they get rewarded with an item, so you gotta be careful there. You have your main Mario characters as team captains, then you bulk out your team with smaller characters, including Monty Moles, Hammer Brothers, people like that, and they each have their own unique moves. The keepers are critters from Donkey Kong Country, and they are just the most amazing goalies ever. You will not get the ball past them, so the trick is to keep the ball moving between you so it gets faster and faster until the trail behind it turns white, then it has a better chance of scoring. Failing that, you can charge up your final smash, as I'll call it, and get multiple goals at once. This game is just so much fun and perfect for families and friends playing together or even online. I would much rather have a sequel to this game, but if they would just port the Wii version and add a few more characters and stadiums, then I would definitely be on board. My third pick for this list, Donkey Kong Country Returns. I know, this game already got remade for the 3DS, but so did Xenoblade Chronicles, and that's being remade for Switch. And I know this game's sequel, Tropical Freeze, is already on the Switch, but guess what? Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is on the Switch, but the first one is still being remade. And yes, I will refer to Xenoblade to counter any arguments here. So what can we say about Donkey Kong Country Returns? It's an incredibly fun, challenging 2D platformer with incredible level design and amazing presentation. It looked good on the Wii, and it looked good on the 3DS, but imagine what it would look like with an HD makeover. Kind of like Tropical Freeze? And it's definitely not a bad thing to look like Tropical Freeze. The only gripe I had with Donkey Kong Country Returns was the motion controls. Not that I didn't get on with them, it's just that there was no reason to have them and there was no option to turn them off. So you'd be shaking the Wii remote constantly to roll, slam and blow when buttons would have worked just fine, and the 3DS version proved that. Maybe it would be seen as a remake of the 3DS version if they included the extra levels and button controls, but I think it would be a fantastic addition to the Switch's ever-growing library of platformers, and throw in the funky mode in too. People all need more Funky Kong in their lives. My fourth pick for this list is a WiiWare game, and that game is Herman Steam Machine. I'd like to see more WiiWare games added onto the Switch, as I didn't buy a whole lot and you can't buy them anymore, so why not put them on the Switch? This game has a simple setup and it can get addictive. It's a pipe puzzle high score game where you have to rotate the pipe pieces to make a connection from one side to the other, matching up the colours. In the corners you have 4 gauges that tell you when a particular colour is in trouble and needing attention, so you have to keep an eye on them so you know which one to prioritise. There was also a co-op multiplayer too, which is great if you really want to start shouting at each other. This one had button controls as well as a pointer, but I can imagine the Switch version incorporating touchscreen controls too. As a cheap eShop game, I can see this fitting right in with the Switch, although it could sadly get overlooked and fall into obscurity as a lot of eShop games tend to do. But if it does arrive, I most certainly would give it the attention it deserves. And the final Wii game I'll be talking about today that I think should come to the Switch: Excite Truck. Do many people remember this one? Well, Nintendo doesn't seem to, and its sequel, Excitebots, didn't even come out in the UK. But then, I didn't buy Excite Trike for a few years after release when it was really cheap, so I am part of the problem. But when I finally played it, I had an absolute blast. It wasn't just about getting first place, it was about your performance during the race. You earn stars for your drifts, jumps, dodging trees and so on. Oh, and the terrain could be changed as well as you race. I got obsessed with maxing out my high scores and earning those medals, and this is just perfect for handheld play. It is one I could see coming to the eShop for a budget price, but if they wanted to bundle it with Excitebots too so I can finally play that one, then that would certainly bring some more excitement to all our lives. So those are my first 5 picks of Wii games I think should come to the Switch. If you have any ideas for future videos of this, then let me know in the comments down below again, and if you're already subscribed, make sure you watch out for part 2. If you're not subscribed, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the party. So thank you very much for watching everyone, see you in the next one.